Good afternoon, CFRU listeners. Hello, hello. Can you hear me over there, Raleigh?
Yeah.
All right, you got a good amount of echo on your voice right now.
I took it off.
You feel free to use as much of that as you want. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
This isn't a specific show that I do. We're just doing this because the opportunity came up for you coming on, and I was really excited to do this interview. As you know, I was trying to get Mr. Noah Raymond Brickley in here, but he did not make it. So we'll have to...
Hi, Noah, if you're watching at home.
We'll have to make it seem extra fun so he feels like he missed out. So
Absolutely.
So he gets FOMO. And we got Iceman here.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Iceman co-hosts a show on Mondays with me with the Rock Doctor, our dog, Underground Rock and Roll Armageddon. So he's one of my radio co-hosts.
Iceman,
keeping it cool. So we got Cadence Weapon here, and he's going to be doing some songs, and we're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff. Who knows what we're going to end up talking about? But I'm really excited about seeing where our conversations go. And if you're tuning in online, there's a green screen setup going. We've done this for a few interviews now. Some of you may remember some of the ones that we did building up to Kazoo Fest with Faith Healer and Mauno. And there's been some other really great ones too. And this is going to be one of the top green screen ones. Once we have 100 of them done, I bet this will be in the top 10.
I think this is going to be one of the most fire ones.
All right. So do you want to start with a song, or do you want to start with some talking about some stuff?
Yeah, no, I'm ready to rock. I'm going to do Own This, which is the first track from my new record.
And some people may remember you actually were here not that long ago. You performed a show in the University Center, just right around the corner from us here. That was what, like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, something like that?
That would have been, I think, in March, the middle of March.
Almost 3 months ago.
Yeah. Just
at the start of spring, I guess.
Absolutely. It was so different back then.
The world was such a different place.
Oh yeah. Now when you go outside, you're like, you're scared because it's so hot.
All right, take it away.
Okay, this is Own This.
Own This by Cadence Weapon live here on CFRU. Tune in online for the green screen action.
Chill. Yeah. All to the beat though, 1, 2, run through like I didn't want to hear 3 go. All for my people working in the back, wait for the bus at the depot. Sipping on vino, Pinot Grigio, staying low key, that's how we roll. Tougher than Debo on the block, hotter than Beach, Puerto Rico. One life to live like Sibo, wanna stay dipped in Moschino. Might see a nigga on Vivo, might hear the G flow on. Rinse FM getting reloads, rock for the C-notes, beat like a keno. Know I got queens in the East Coast, freaks in the West. Freak them dressed, talk dirty, but I always rock clean clothes. Living off rap, whole team giving me dap like I just shot a free throw. So much cash in my crib like I live in BMO. Got a young nigga on beast mode. Old school like Gabe Genie, winning with the shit, but I didn't use the cheat code. Old ass running for the repo, man, damn, just got your Jeep towed. All those comments, delete those. Don't give a fuck when you tweet, bro. Don't give a fuck when you seen, bro. Not really rushing to see, I got stuff to complete, so hold up. Got so much, don't want rolled up. Today with my team, home with controllers. No one can mold us or fold us, scold us. Shine like a code to gold us. You know what? Yeah, I own this. And like always, you know I'm on my own shit. Got my own team, and we write our own hits. Need my own AP with my own wrist. Trying to raise my salary, give my family what they need. No time for sleep, I ain't out here counting sheep. Money coming slow, trying to bring it up to speed. Know my nickname like Birdman knows Rich Gang. I'm making the funk like Rick James, faking the funk like Chris James. Big and black like Ving Rhames, and Olympic state like Ving Rhames. MJ got thick rings, got thin chains, ain't shit changed. Give a fuck what your list say. I'll be the shit in this game cause I bit things. I spit trains, got sick range. I sing rap and I mix names. Let me explain. Young nigga working, got shit to gain. No bigger purpose, just switch the frame. Trying to get the fame with this dame on Biscayne on a layover. Won't stay sober, it ain't snowing. Laying low, better lay lower, it ain't over. Put you on ice like Kim Cobra, I'm a King Cobra. Arch my back, got big shoulders, I give you something to flip over. Real soldier. Yeah, I own this. And like always, you know I'm on my own shit. Got my own team and we write our own hits. Need my own AP on my own wrist. Trying to raise my salary, give my family what they need. No time for sleep, I ain't out here counting sheep. Money coming slow, trying to bring it up to speed. I'ma be my own man, won't let nobody own me. Trying to raise my salary, give my family what they need. No time for sleep, I ain't out here counting sheep. Money coming slow, trying to bring it up to speed. Emancipated.
You're tuned in to CFRU 93.3FM in Guelph, Cadence Weapon Live. That was Own This. And Bri reminded me I should probably give a swearing warning if you are sensitive to any offensive language. There may be some swears in the songs, but that's just part of rap, and we're doing it live, so that's just how it's going to be.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You know, I know it's the middle of the day, but it's hard.
No need to apologize.
It's hard not to when it's in the song.
We're just giving a swearing warning for that's our protocol.
Parental advisory.
Yes, parental advisory in effect. I wouldn't worry, so I wouldn't stress it too much. I should have mentioned that, so it's kind of my bad, because I already know the songs. So I knew the swears were there.
You knew they were coming.
I don't know what I was thinking.
Well, you know, actually, it won't be so bad for most of it. For the next two songs, it should be good.
And you know what? That's really this is really the thing that Noah's missing out on, because he's been threatening to do a radio show here for years and years and years. He used to come in. Briefly, he was co-hosting one of my shows with me for a while, and I was really surprised by how long he stuck with it. He stuck with it for several months, and it made that show a lot more interesting. But his whole thing with CFRU was he got so mad about the swearing stuff. Mm-hmm. He was like, really, because all the music that he wants to play has swearing. And he was like, I'm not going to sit around doing edits for like 2 hours for every show I do, because he wants to play all like new underground rap.
Of course.
And he doesn't want to be, and there's not clean edits that exist already for all that stuff.
You know, I used to have that problem when I was younger. I used to DJ in my high school during lunchtime.
Okay.
I used to, you know, I'd burn all these CDs of edits of tracks that I made. I'd make clean versions of every track, because they'd play throughout the school. They play through the loudspeakers, and so I'd be playing, you know, the Blueprint 2, like Jay-Z or whatever, or like, you know, like Electric Circus by Common, and whenever there's like swears, like it would just be total silence. Because I didn't have the instrumentals, so I couldn't really make a true clean version.
A true clean edit with like the like reverse that makes it sound like it was kind of like the word, but you didn't totally hear the word or whatever.
Right. I think that's a very funny convention too. Is that it's like, oh, swears, they're so bad, right? We shouldn't be able to hear them. But you know what is okay? Something that sounds exactly like it, that's a little like blurred out or like reversed. I've always thought that was funny.
Like everybody knows, but except maybe the little kids that haven't figured out, you know, how that stuff works.
That's like when you go to the corner store, and back in the day they used to have like the porn magazines, and they'd be in like a bag, and it's like, you know, they're in the bag.
you know it's in there.
Everybody knows what's in there.
Behind the blocked out portion of the bag.
Too hot for college radio. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so Noah, that's why he didn't end up doing a show, was because he couldn't deal with the swearing stuff. And I just told him to do a show late at night. I said, if you do a show late at night, there's way more leniency. It's actually not. It's not super strict once we get past around 9 p.m. or something like that. They start letting the swears pop out a little bit more frequently.
I don't know. It's just under the cover of night. No, you know, you can just let those swears just come right out.
But then we had another dude who does a show, Pop and Pakistani Bolly Bash, Ajmal. He started trying to do clean edits for all of Noah's albums. He was like, okay, I'm gonna do his whole discography of clean edits. But I think he only made it through like 3 albums of his like 40 albums or whatever. So that didn't end up happening. But that's a good project for the future. I always find it funny though when people do big mail outs for radio and like don't put the the FCC warnings, or like
Right.
they'll put like recommended tracks, but they won't say what tracks have swears, or they won't give you clean edits, and it's like, okay.
No, I held it down for everybody. I sent out the clean CDs.
Yeah, well, you know what's up.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about you here.
Oh yeah, no, but it's like it's funny because I didn't even make CDs for this album. I just did all vinyl.
And then you just did CDs just for radio?
Yes. I only make a bunch of clean CDs for radio stations only.
And that's really smart, because even though we live in the digital age officially, and you'd think sending out digital copies would be totally sufficient, I've noticed, and I've talked about it with our music programming coordinator here, CDs definitely do way better on the charts when they're not the digital copies, when they're the CD copies.
Mm-hmm.
Programmers are still stuck on CDs. Even me, I find it, I like kind of, it's more like you're actually DJing when you have physical things that you're holding. I actually use the turntables a lot, but even the CDs, I still use digital, like, because some stuff it's just digital and I just want to play it. But it's been, the radio college campus anyways has been slow to take on the digital stuff.
Oh yeah, all the stations, they still have the huge libraries of CDs and records and stuff.
It's a big problem, because nobody I don't think any station in the country has any more room for any new CDs.
Yeah.
But they also don't have, it's also still the format that gets you charting. So that was a smart move, is what I'm getting at.
Thanks.
All right, so you took a bit of a break from doing music. I caught you at your first show that you had done in a really long time. You did a show in Toronto with Sean Nicholas Savage.
Yes.
And you played some of your new songs for the first time, I believe.
Yeah, that's true.
And you were making some funny jokes about what you'd been doing in your downtime.
Yeah.
Which I found really amusing. And you really got connected in with that Arbutus Records sort of scene in Montreal when you were there, right?
Yeah, those are the homies, and that's who I was hanging out with most of that time. Like I did a lot of events with them where I would be DJing, or I'd be throwing like the after party for a Sean Nicholas Savage show or something. It was definitely this a very cool communal vibe that we all had together, and I learned a lot from just being around them.
Did you have it in with Sean because you guys are both from Edmonton?
That's a little bit of how it started. Yeah, we knew each other back in Edmonton, but we really became much closer when we both lived in Montreal.
So you did know each other from Edmonton, but...
We did, but we weren't like homies at that time. Like we would be at the same bar and we'd like say what's up, but...
Well, he wasn't really doing music as much back then. I found out that he was actually recording other artists back then. He wasn't really doing as much of his own stuff. He started out recording.
That's true, and then it was like when he got in the group with Jane and Dave from Tops, they had a group all together called the Silly Kissers.
Yes. And
that was around the time that I moved to Montreal, and it was a really exciting time for me because I lived with Jane at the time, and eventually moved in with her and Dave, and it was down the street it was Grimes. Our neighbor in the basement was Mac DeMarco, and it felt like being on a TV show. It felt like being on Seinfeld or something.
This is cool to hear about this stuff because I've always wondered about this era of your artistic career, because not a lot of people didn't really know what you were up to. I knew you were DJing a lot because I'd see you DJing events, and people would ask me like, "What's Cadence Weapon doing?" Because they knew.
I did put out an album during that time too. Like I put out an album in 2012, and I was living in Montreal, so I did put out something, but then there's other like circumstances as to why I didn't put out more. It's like the label I was on, Upper Class, they stopped existing, and then that they were also managing me, so there was all
when did Upper Class stop?
I would say that would be 2014.
So just a couple years after Hope and Dirt City.
Yeah, so like I toured a lot that whole 2012 and a lot of 2013. And then I was already working on the next thing, and I was just not hearing back from them, and they were just kind of inconsistent, and it became just total silence for like a year. And then I kind of looked around, and I was like, wow, what am I supposed to do now? So I ended up eventually in 2015, I moved to Toronto from Montreal, and kind of just, in a weird way, I felt like I had to restart a lot of things. I had to get back in the flow of recording. I changed the way I recorded completely. So I started working with outside producers. Like, I stopped producing myself. And, I'm working in all these different studios, just trying to be collaborative. And that whole process led to the album that came out this year.
Yeah, you started off primarily producing all your own music.
Yeah.
With Breaking K-Fab, that was kind of part of the big deal, right? Was that you produced it all, and that was at a time in Canadian hip hop where I remember really well when that album came out. It was way different than anything else I'd heard. Really stood out in my mind as a shift in what was happening in Canadian music and in Canadian hip hop particularly. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of opinions about Canadian hip hop, and and I feel like a lot of times the scene overall, and now none of this applies to you, like as a warning. I feel like the scene overall is kind of like 10 years behind the underground scene in America, and takes longer to catch up than, say, here our indie rock scene is like kind of at the vanguard, like leading the way.
Yeah.
With developing different sounds, but we don't really have a lot of artists like you who are creating new sounds and not being obsessed over like production sounds from like 2001 or whatever, or like the 90s. At that time, it was like people couldn't get off the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the thing is that underground rap it was really popping for a while in America and Canada at the same time, but nowadays I feel like it's very hard for me to even hear about underground rap that's coming out in Canada. Like, it doesn't get on my radar, and it's like none of the bigger labels, the bigger indies are really like trying to sign records like that. And it seems like it's almost just out of favor, the kind of like lyrical rap that has, different kinds of beats and stuff. That's not like really that cool right now in Canada, especially like what you're saying of underground rap in Canada not being like, being a few years ahead behind. The mainstream rap in Canada is the cutting edge music of all rap now, right? Like all the Toronto rap, that's like, there's all these artists trying to sound like them from America now.
Yeah, totally.
Right? So it's kind of like, I think as a result, you're having a lot more people trying to make music in that lane and try and be somewhat hospitable to that, because especially with the way music is like on Spotify and like playlists and everything, you can't even get on these playlists if you don't sound like these artists.
Yeah,
what I mean?
I guess it's the cloud, the OVO cloud, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
that a lot of people are living under. And you're totally right, because I've talked to underground artists from America, and they actually talk about how that sound overshadows a lot of what they're doing. And you're right that it is a sound that is what a lot of people are trying to either imitate or get like their piece of the pie of that thing, because it became so viable.
And that said, I still feel like the mainstream stuff could be more cutting edge. It could be more interesting. It could be more unique, more special to me, because I feel like they tapped into something that was universal, that lots of people liked, that was unique, and they just kept doing that for years.
Yeah, and I don't really think it's evolved much. What do you think of the new Drake album?
I think there's some cool moments on it. Like, I think he's doing something really cool with the kind of New Orleans bounce stuff that he's doing. Like, I feel like the track In My Feelings is really good. And I also think Blue Tint, and I like Nonstop at the beginning of the album. But I feel like the whole idea of putting out these albums with like 25 tracks, and like, the Chris Brown album that had like 45 songs or something, it's like, this is like so cynical. I find it to be very cynical. I find it to be very just exhausting to even think about. Like, just when that album was going to come out, it was just kind of like everybody's just preparing themselves. They're like, oh God, I got to sit through like 2 hours of music, and pick out the tracks that I like.
It's one thing if you're Little B and and everybody knows that he doesn't intend you to listen to that song more than once, probably.
Right.
And his expectations as the creator are different than what Drake's would be for his 30-track album.
I think music has changed in such a weird way because of streaming. I was just thinking about this on the way over here. Is that like, I thought that with streaming you have access to more music than ever. There's more discoverability. There's more opportunity for like underground artists and people who normally wouldn't be able to be heard to be heard. You know, that's the most positive way of seeing it, right? But what I think is actually happening is you're having these mainstream artists making albums with tons of tracks, and all the music is kind of bland and really accessible, and is designed to be not listened to actively. It's designed to be put in the background at a coffee shop or put in the background at your house and looped, so they just get more and more plays. They don't want anything that will like disturb you or make you like be freaked out, or basically nothing to make you change the album, right?
Yeah.
So I think this has totally changed the way everyone makes music now. I feel like there's less uncompromising, controversial, edgy music than ever, despite the fact that we have more access to music than ever.
Yeah, streaming, it is, we're living in, I guess, the post-genre era, so with so much stuff available. But like on the new Drake album, he's been imitating the underground for a while, as do most of the mainstream artists now. I find, like aside from their album hits, a lot of the stuff they're doing, they're just trying to imitate artists like you or Keyboard Kid is an artist that I follow closely from the States, Little B's DJ producer.
Yeah.
And one of the tracks on Drake's new album is basically it sounds as if they literally just reverse engineered a Keyboard Kid beat. And he started talking about it, and then he started getting like tons of flack. Like everybody's just like, "What are you saying? You're not getting your credit. Are you trying to get money?" And he's like, "No, like obviously you know nothing about bass culture. I'm not trying to get money."
You know, it's funny. It's like this isn't only happening in music. It's also happening in like visual art with the internet. It's happening in like clothing design. There are these bigger entities, these big fashion houses, these big labels, these big artists who hire people to just scour the web and find cool underground stuff that they can repurpose. You know, and the same thing happens more than ever in music. And it's like, I know, like I see some of the people who follow me, you know, on Twitter, like I'm not like stupid, you know, like I see A&Rs for Interscope, you know, and like, you know, people who work at different labels here in Canada who are like, would have a vested interest in seeing what I'm up to.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like the only way you can feel good about it is just to keep moving and keep being creative, because, you know, it's like a shark, right? You know, if a shark stops moving, it dies.
Well, anyways, Breaking K-Fab really stood out. It was kind of like, to me, it was like an island of like I don't know, an island of like something like of hope or something at the time, because I hadn't heard anything like it. And it made me really excited about music in Canada, like especially hip hop, which has been my favorite genre for a long time. So yeah, thanks for kicking that off all those years ago. And I was just like, you know, it's really impressive when an artist can produce their own music. Now you've started working with other producers, which I also thought was really interesting. Yeah,
I feel like the way that I do it now is I might not be having my hands on the computer or the drum machine myself, but it's like my vision comes through in the beats. You know, like I'll be in the room, you know, I'll be like kind of dictating or directing the way it's being made, or just like catching a vibe with the person, and that ends up being the music, you know.
And the interesting thing with you is that you produced all your own music for so long that people that might be producing for you already have a sound that you created kind of to reference as a reference point for them. Not saying they're copying the sound that you created or whatever, but it's different than producers working with a rapper that has never produced a beat, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that actually happened on this album with Gibbs. You know, he's the guy who was familiar with my production and stuff, and knew my music, and we ended up working together, and it was like, oh wow, like, you know, I saw so much of myself in his production, you know, and I was like, oh man, we got to work together, because I think it'll just come together really naturally, and it did. Yeah, on a couple tracks. Like he did that last beat that I just did, the Own This, and he did the beat for Soju on the album.
So how did you choose what producers you were going to work with? It just kind of just people you met over the time of like once you moved to Toronto?
Yeah, and also just through my experiences in Montreal, through other experiences like, being a part of the Red Bull Music Academy, in Montreal, and I wanted it to just be an extension of my life. I wanted the music to become more and more like directly connected to, people that I caught a vibe with or whatever. Like, this next song I'm gonna play, Destination, features Dira Dorian. And we really caught a vibe. We became really good friends during RBMA in Montreal like a couple years ago. And it was like, man, we got to make a song together. Like, I feel like it'd be good, and I think that's the way I've been approaching music. Like, if I get along with somebody, I'm like, let's just make a song, and like see what happens. And usually the result is something that is a reflection of our compatibility as people. And I've been finding that with all the beat makers too. It's like people that like I can laugh around or like have fun with, I'm trying to make more music with people like that rather than like these kind of like weird, industry blind date type scenarios where like they just like, put you in a room with some people and just hope that something sticks.
I find that that's what I'm hearing more and more from the artists that I like, is that's kind of the process of like people are kind of like, without using swears or whatever, if they can't be friends with somebody, then they don't want to make music with them, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell the difference, right? When you listen to music, you can tell if like the people were in the same room together, or if they, really if they wrote their verses with each other in mind or whatever, like that kind of stuff. That's the game within the game to me. That's the music inside the music.
All right, let's get to your next track. What's it called again?
This is Destination.
Okay.
And this is from my self-titled album out now, Cadence Weapon. So let's do it.
All right, here at CFRU, live on CFRU, Cadence Weapon.
When some people see my face, all they see is race. Look at me with distaste and I make haste. Black Ace can't be replaced. When I first hit the frame, I looked out of space. But now I'm back with some new bass, trying to do some new things in a new space. I write pictures that you can't trace to imitate 4K in a soundstage. That nigga's tripping like a suitcase. If you think you can rip it like how I did it, I'm different. You need to switch your position. I'm on a new wave. Like I played in Eurythmics, trying to make sweet dreams, bring them into fruition. Trying to take enemies, put them into submission. If you got equity, we can go into business. I ain't really gotta speak, I just want you to listen, yo. Let me free.
I just wanna be where I'm meant to be. Trying to find my way to my destination. Please let me believe.
Let me believe
in my fantasy. Till I think complete. Trying to find my way to my destination.
Intuition ain't what I'm missing, my vision vivid. Hang with women, they independent, Michelle Williams. I've been in a minute, but now I'm back in business. I invented my own sound, you quick to mimic. No intervention, no indecision, no inhibition. What I make offensive, what I make transcendent. To be specific, you're so defensive, Kawhi Leonard. You think it is what it is, but no, it really isn't. I've been up in my fitness in case you press the issue. Break you up with the quickness to take your section with you. Benevolent, never celibate, stayed relevant, I'm eloquent. I can turn this verse into a testament, forever decadent. Say where the beverages is prevalent, it's evident. Born melanin, flow effortless. So ebony, sick with no cold remedy. Ripping the shows regular, hitting the road heavily, yo. Look how I go, time to see what I have in store. Grind with me on the dance floor, make a nigga wanna bring a cab home. Now look how I go, back and forth to and fro. One question I ask y'all, can you give me a drink before last call? Today it's the water. Thanks.
I just wanna be where I'm meant to be. Trying to find my way to my destination. Please let me believe. In my fantasy. Till I think complete. Trying to find my way to my destination.
You know it's me, Cadence Weapon, Harrison on the beat. DJs, MCs try to come and compete. When they see us on the street, man, they know who we be. And you know it's me, Cadence, Weapon, Harrison on the beat. DJs, MCs try to come and compete. When they see us on the street, man, they know who we be. When city life has got you down, and all day you search around, get on your feet and off the ground. Let's move into a high rise. City life could drive you mad. I've seen it happen, it's so sad. Just log out, stop checking ads, and move into a high rise. Who needs community? Not me and you or you and me. Swimming pools all in our suite. Beats the view on College Street. Who needs the shops and schools? Not you and me or me and you. Baby girl, you knew it's true. We're moving to a high rise. Moving to a high rise. High rise. Let me tell you now. Moving to a high rise. High rise. Moving to a high rise. Moving to a high rise. Let me tell you now. Moving to a high rise. 100,000 over asking, home destruction, no compassion, call your MP. No reaction, disrespected, looking glass, misdirected, more construction. Only consumption, bass affected, so disrupted, disconnected, cash reduction. Ask the why, get interrupted, more distraction, slow production, more corruption. Lights out, priced out, great heights, no view, white flight. Trying times, rising rent, private lies, highly dense, open house, bidding war, working poor, massive debt, family loan, overstretched. Gentrifier, take me higher, sell it to the richest buyer. Who needs community? Not me and you or you and me. Swimming pools all in our suite. Beats the view on College Street. Who needs the shops and schools? Not you and me or me and you. Baby girl, you know it's true. We're moving to a high rise. High rise. Woo! High rise. High rise. Let me tell you now, moving to a high rise. High rise. Moving to a high rise. High rise. City life can be so grim. It's so hard to see your friends. Weekends spent inside the gym. The one that's in our high rise. Waking up and seeing clouds. Lose the need to be house proud. Get over the underground. Come see us in our high rise. Moving to our high rise. High rise. Let's take it now. Moving to a high rise. Let's move into a high rise. Move into a high rise. Move into a high rise. Hey, hey, I house you. I house you. I house you. You're in my hut now. Ah!
Cadence Weapon here at CFRU Live. Tune in online, cfru.ca. Check out the YouTube channel for the green screen action, and it will be posted up later on our YouTube channel. If you're missing it, or if you did catch this and you want to show it to all your friends, that's where you'll be able to find it. That was High Rise and Destination, both off the new self-titled Cadence Weapon album. That was my favorite track off the new album.
Thank you. Yeah, produced by Jacques Green.
And yeah, just an all-around amazing track.
And can I mention something though about Jacques Green, an amazing producer from Montreal? We are doing an album together. We're after working on a couple of songs from this album, we are both working on an album together right now. So I'll let you know that.
Sensational news, my dude.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. I was excited to see that. He hasn't worked with that many rappers really.
No, not really. No, I think I'm like one of the main ones.
Yeah, so that's really exciting. That's the kind of stuff that we want to hear on these live to air interviews, sneak peeks of upcoming stuff.
Yeah, man.
So you guys are working on that right now. Where do you work on it? Like online or?
No, man. Like, well, he lives in Toronto.
Okay.
And so we actually just work together on it in person. We'll just jam out whenever like we're both in town.
So he used to live in Montreal though, right?
Yeah. No, he's like from Montreal.
Yeah, he's from Montreal. So is there other artists moving to Toronto from Montreal or?
I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense for artists to do that.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Right? Like it's like just
makes more sense to kind of go the other way.
Usually, yeah, but I mean, circumstantially, sometimes it can be better for you. Like for me, being in Toronto has been very productive because it's very easy for me to, for instance, come here and do an interview like this, or have a meeting with like a certain person in person. It's like so easy because the music industry is all based in Toronto.
Right.
Whereas like in Montreal, it's like only beneficial if you're making a certain kind of music or if you have certain kind of connections.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. All right. So Iceman has a couple questions for you, so I'm going to toss it over to Iceman for a second.
Let's go, Ice. Let's go.
Alrighty, thank you, Leonard. My first question for you, me being a big gamer myself, just wondering if you play any video games in your spare time when you're not touring or doing music.
I actually, I simply cannot because I'm so addicted to video games.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even get started. Like, you guys wouldn't hear another album from me for even longer.
Shoot, eh?
I have to, like, stop myself because I love it. But, I mean, like, the last stuff I was getting into were, like, some of the Far Cry games and stuff.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed those.
And what system do you prefer, PlayStation or Xbox? Or
For me, it was Xbox.
Oh, yeah, I prefer Xbox. I have an Xbox One myself, and I wouldn't go to any other system myself.
I mean, sometimes I've been when I go over to hang out with Jacques Green, he has a Switch.
Oh, wow, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll play, like, the Mario Kart.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, those are fun.
It's so fun.
Oh, definitely, for sure. And so would you say that Far Cry is your favorite game, or what would you say your favorite all-time game would be?
Oh, all-time? Yeah, like, see, I'm an old school gamer.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I'm really into a lot of the old RPGs.
Right,
so
gotcha.
I would say something like Chrono Trigger. Or
right.
Like, Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah. And they were on the N64. Which system was that on?
That would have been an SNES for Chrono Trigger.
Oh, okay.
And Final Fantasy VII would have been the original PlayStation.
Oh, right. Gotcha.
That was like my era, too. Like,
yeah.
I really enjoyed PS1 and PS2.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I had a PS2. And the cool thing about it was that if you had a PS2, you could also play PS1 games on it. So it was pretty cool.
That was the bomb.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I also played a lot of Dreamcast.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing.
I think that was low-key the best system. I think it was the most innovative, like...
Definitely.
Yeah, and they had, like, Jet Grind Radio.
Oh, wow.
And I loved all the weird games like Seaman.
Yeah.
Where you had this human-fish hybrid and you'd teach it to speak English.
Oh, cool. That's very cool.
Oh, and Shenmue.
Yeah.
Now, that was the best. I need to do a video that is like with the Shenmue engine, or something, and it's just me like walking around Montreal.
Oh wow!
Because that game was like legendary. It was like you're like living his life.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Don't even get me started on Shenmue. That's my stuff.
Definitely for sure.
Dreamcast was kind of one of the tragedies of the video game industry.
Oh,
it was sad
because it was such a good system, so ahead of its time,
right?
And then it just got crushed by PlayStation.
Yeah, they never could adapt. I don't know what it was like.
PlayStation literally ran like marketing campaigns to kill them, and timed their release of what was the big system that it was competing with? Was it the PlayStation 2?
Yeah, I think it would be at that time. Yeah.
And they timed the release so that it would overshadow the Dreamcast and not give it a chance to have any market share, basically.
Oh, wow.
Like they probably had like a team of like people like how are we going to stop the Dreamcast? How are we going to kill the Dreamcast? That's like our mission. We've got to destroy this thing.
Man, you got a lot of information about this. I think maybe you should do a documentary.
Yeah, definitely, for sure you should.
The people need to know.
There was a decent amount of Dreamcast games for how short-lived that system was.
They were pretty much all fire.
Yeah.
Crazy Taxi, Power Stone.
The consistency was super high.
I can keep going with games because there were so many good games.
Yeah.
I never had a Dreamcast because I just wasn't lucky enough to get one. But after the fact, I knew one of my close friends. He had one, and he kind of told me all this stuff about what happened.
That's awesome.
And all his favorite games and how the games were so innovative and everything.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, that's that I guess leads to my second question. I know that that I'm not as familiar with your music or your backstory of how you got into music as Leonard is, but do you mind me asking how you got into music?
Yeah, sure. I mean, originally, my dad was actually a college radio DJ in Edmonton, where I'm from. And he had a show on CGSR for over 20 years where he would just play rap and funk music. And, you know, I just grew up around that. And really it was like I would just rap in, you know, school when I was like 13. And I would just write raps. And I just was always listening to rap. You know, I'd walk around back in the CD era. I had, you know, the 100 CD disc book.
Yeah.
And I would take it around to school with my like Shockwave CD player. And I was just like, I treat it like an iPod before an iPod. I'd just be swapping discs all day. Yeah, I was just obsessed with music growing up. So yeah, my uncle was also a funk musician.
Oh wow!
And he would allow me to come and jump on stage with him, you know, at bars and stuff. And that's how I first started performing. But yeah, it all kind of stemmed from there. And I really put out a bunch of records on the internet that people found out about, and then I got a record deal, and then I started touring the world and stuff. And
that's very amazing.
And I put out 4 albums, and I had one in January.
Yeah,
that is why I'm here too.
Wow,
and I'm
awesome.
playing Hillside Festival.
Oh, cool! That's very cool.
Next week.
That's awesome.
And you
That's
played Hillside after breaking kayfabe.
Yeah, man, that was great. It honestly is like one of my favorite festivals that I've ever played. I have just such nostalgic, great feelings about it because I'd never been to a festival that had that kind of like community focus, that had that kind of, you know, the organic food and all the like, you know, the caring about the environment, and it was like just felt so pastoral and so nice. I remember I went swimming and stuff. Like it was just like a nice time.
Yeah, it was. Now a lot of the festivals are more like that, but it was probably at that time when you played around breaking kayfabe, it was a bit more of an anomaly.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I can't remember what I was going to ask you, but so you're playing Hillside this summer. Did you play it after? Is this just your second time playing it?
This is just my second time. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're this kind of like going to be an exciting return. I remember that was a really exciting show. I was at that show too. And I remember there was an inflatable shark that got blown up and was getting passed around.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
So maybe that will get recreated. Who knows?
Somebody's got to bring an inflatable shark again. You know?
Somebody bring an inflatable shark.
Absolutely.
I'd love to see that.
All right. So do you want to go in with another track, because you got a few more tracks to play?
Yeah, I got a couple.
We're actually kind of flying through this hour here.
Yeah, man, let's do it.
All right.
Yeah, this next one's a song that's not from the album that I recently put out, and it's called Be About.
Can we just, before you start playing, I want to tell, in case people aren't tuned in online, you have a really cool setup over there. Some people might be wondering how you're making yourself sound like on the record and stuff like that. Is that something that you're going for more now with your live performances?
That is an important part to me because I feel like I use so many different voices on the album, and I want to be able to reflect that, and I wanted to be able to control it. So I use a TC Helicon Voice Live 3 pedal that no one can see on camera, and I actually have a mic that actually has a button in it that allows me to switch between different voices and different effects. And then I'm also just, using a Tractor Controller, Tractor Control X1 Mark II, and Tractor, and I'm using my computer. to play the tracks. But this is not going to be the exact setup that I'm going to have at the show. I'm going to be rolling with a DJ as well.
So you had a DJ with you when you played here on campus back in March.
Yes.
Do you have an official DJ now, or are you just kind of getting DJs as the gigs come?
I have different DJs for different regions. Yeah, so I have like a bunch of cool DJ friends that will play with me depending on where I'm at.
Different DJs for different regions and different DJs for different seasons.
Absolutely.
All right, let's hear the next track. You're listening live to Cadence Weapon here on CFRU 93.3 FM in Guelph. Tune in online to the YouTube channel to check out some green screen action.
This is Be About.
When they hear the song, all the haters, they go sneak it out. Play this in the club, it might blow your fucking speakers out. We go song for song, sounded like I pulled the heater out. You be making noise, but I don't know what you be about.
What you be about, boy, what you be about. What you be about, boy, what you be about. What you be about, boy, what you be about. Hey.
Be about, boy, what you be about.
All you rappers is average, acting like you selling that package, trapping like you reppin' Atlanta, capping while you strapped to stay packing. No, you can't be a savage, tragic, all that faking outlandish, hustling while you hustling backwards. Club Sway, I got answers. I don't want all that baggage, I'm already established. All my hours, they classic. Your new crackers get past it. You be making your status, you be making them captions. I get paid to make magic, you get paid in them fractions. All that fuckboy fashion ain't cut from that fabric. You ain't waiting in line, I ain't got no time. So your show was trash, think you need more practice. Need to work on your step before I show you respect.
When we hear this song, all the haters, they go sneaking out. Play this in the club, it might blow your fucking speakers out.
We go song for song,
sounded like I pulled the heater out.
You be making noise, but I don't know what you be about. What you be about, boy, what you be about. What you be about, boy, what you be about. What you be about, boy, what you be about.
What you be about, boy, what you be
First you trying to up your followers, but you are one. You treat this like a sprint, but it won't help you in the long run. I'm the only rapper not afraid to go and say this. These corporations only want to sell us fucking fake shit.
Facts.
Heard you paid big to get a playlist that's played out. I don't pay shit for getting played out. Where you hang out, you can't even bless the beat, so get up on my way now and shut the up if you ain't got nothing to say now. Treat this like a thesis, only say it if I mean it. It ain't always what it seems. Chasing clout, they're chasing dreams. Yeah, I see, I don't believe it when I see it on the screen. Like I'm watching flicks with camera tricks, running for the green. When they hear this song, all the haters, they go sneaking out. Play this in the club,
it might blow your fucking speakers out.
we go song for song, sounding like I pulled the heater out. You be making noise, but I don't know what you be about. What you be about, boy, what you be about. What you be about, boy, what you be about. What you be about, boy, what you be about. What you be about, boy. Yeah. This goes out to all my Mylan friends and my Park X Connects. All the kids in Little Italy, the Bucks in St. Henry, Plateau Bros and my crew in the D's. Cause you know when I do it, you know I do it with ease. Make some moves with my music, you got a couple degrees. Might see me using maneuvers, I got a few up my sleeve. Become so fluent and ruthless, so underground in the sewer. Like DOS effects with my set, my sound progression is proven. You think it's all an illusion, must be the booze you consuming. Talking shit with your clip, but when all alone is confusion. Acting like we can't prove this, typing on your computer. Give you losers a bruising until you need a transfusion. My niggas don't roll with a pop off. Might rock Cambo with a cost off. Might cop a Lambo with a drop top. Make your jaws drop white coat with a comp top. Better make light smoke with your pot top. To the hot spots, roll off, nigga down there. Want me to stay small, we can drop that. Better slow back on the toe, we're going black. Bob cool light. Woo! Woo! My crew like. My crew like. This catering out of my base is harder than a fake to bother to diss. Gotta thank my mama cause she made me stronger when I had to deal with that shit. Let me teach you math, I stand to deliver. I'm wavy, baby, like I ran through a river. My Drake Stacy, it passed from a liver. Taking lady, she asked me to get her. Little fella, I'm a big black nigga. Little fat, retro hill figure. Hit it better, you're no big swinger. I'm a real veteran, you're not no figure. I'm really clever, got my shit together. I'm on the top in this endeavor. If you pick me up, I need a biz better. Tinted window seats filled with leather. Send it in this, you will lift this pepper. Got a cool bad bitch like this with tellers. I'm rolling, homie, my wrist metal. Got a meat strap and a fist bezel. When he drops about 60 levels, no rebots, my kick special. Y3 stack to the cellar. Clean conscious, my fit stellar. I'm a green monster when I get checked. Squeal off when I hit the pedal. Seen Bobby Wheels kick the pebbles like, woo baby, who does it better? Nobody in the slow jalopy, I'm rolling off it in the lobby loaded. So confident, got a dope sponsor to help me go off until I'm overdosing like, woo! My cool life. Hey, hey. Yeah, kid, what you know? I do it for the gal and them, do it for my bro. Yeah, kid, what you know? I do it for the platinum, do it for the gold. Woo! Yeah, kid, what you know? I do it for the gal and them, do it for my bro. Woo! Yeah, kid, what you know? I do it for the platinum, do it for the gold.
You're tuned in to CFRU right now, listening to Cadence Weapon Live. There's a YouTube stream going as well. All right, so we're almost out of time here. So that was a double shot, right?
Yeah, man.
So the first track, is that's a new song that's not on any albums?
Yeah, that's a one-off single. It's called Be About, and it's produced by this guy Etan Tobin from Toronto. He does this crew called Bedroomer, and
I met Bedroomer recently. I think it was at the Alice Glass show or something.
Oh, cool. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, Picture Plane was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now that ties that together for me.
Yeah.
I was wondering who that guy was. I didn't know. Like, I met him. That was the first time I heard of him. And I was like, wait a second, this guy seems dope. And then I looked him up online after, and I couldn't totally figure his thing out. But
yeah, they're making moves, man. And then I did My Crew, produced by Kate Tronada, from the new album. All
right. So you got a brand new album out, self-titled album. Why did you decide to go with the self-titled? Because it's maybe just because you're reinventing yourself.
Yeah, in a way, like for me, it was just kind of like a new beginning. I've always liked it when an established artist or they've never had a self-title and they put it out later in their career. I just think it's kind of money. It's kind of cool. But for me, it was very like symbolic because I hadn't put out records for so long. It was almost like it felt like this was my first album. And I feel like it's kind of it splits like the first half of my career with the next half. And it's like this demarcation point for that. So I'm feeling it.
Yeah, I always feel like just exactly to agree with what you said. If it's sort of like something that an artist can always save, that self-titled album, if they haven't put it out, it's like you can put it. It's like something you can always, whenever the time is ready, whenever the time's right, I guess.
Yeah, and now I actually just feel like I'm more prolific than I ever have been. I'm making more music than I ever have. I feel like, when I come to Hillside, I'm going to try out a couple of the other songs that I'm doing with Jacques Green, trying to do like just more and more new stuff and just give people the vibes,
Yeah, it seems like you're busier than ever making music.
Yeah, man, it's a good feeling. It's like when it's happening, just ride the wave.
But you never really were not like doing music.
No.
It's not like you ever stopped doing music.
No, I was making music the whole time, but like it's weird. It's weird to really illustrate because sometimes it wasn't really like I didn't put in any music out, so it seemed like I didn't have any. But I could have put out probably 2 albums in the time since my last one, but I think I'm happier that I didn't.
Sometimes I've talked to people who said the same thing, that they had music that they could have put out that they didn't, and then in hindsight they were glad they didn't because it would have shaped the things, their perception differently in the public and stuff.
And making that music is how I became who I am today. It's how I got to the point to make the stuff that I'm making now. It's like it's all it's all part of the 10,000 hours, you know.
Makes perfect sense to me. And also it's just a genre thing too. Like if you weren't in rap, there'd be like, no, where's your next album? Because like rock bands get 3 years to make albums between every album.
To quote Andre 3000, you're only funky as your last cut.
All right, so we're running out of time here. What else did you want to say? You got the Hillside show coming up.
Man.
The new album is out. What's the best way for people to find it?
Hit that follow button, Spotify. Hit that, you know. And I'm on Instagram, everything. Cadence Weapon. You can find me anywhere. I want to give a shout out to CFRU and you for having me here. And I will be playing Hillside Festival next Friday, which is July 15th. I'm not sure. It's July 13th. July 13th, and I'm playing at 10:30.
10:30 at night?
Yeah, man.
All right.
Yeah, so it's going to be super lit, so get over there.
That's good because sometimes not trying to get criticize Hillside, but sometimes they put on shows that I think should be at night. They'll put them on in the day. So I'm glad that you're playing at night.
That's that festival lifestyle. Plus, I can swear more because it's at night.
Yes, after 9 p.m. So you got we got a little bit of time left here. So you got onto after your second album, you got signed to Anti Records, right?
Yeah.
And then did that like bring about a lot more international interest? Like did you do more international touring at that time?
I did, yeah. I mean, I ended up getting signed also to Big Data, and that helped a lot in Europe. But I'm actually going to Europe again on this album in August. After Hillside, I'm doing a short tour, and I'll be back in the fall playing all over Canada and, you know, North American tours. Me, Fat Tony from Houston, and Hawali, who's a rapper from Montreal, and she's really dope. And I actually wanted to play something for you, just to end out the day, if that's okay.
Yep.
I'm gonna play the first song that we've kind of been releasing from the project with me and Jacques Green. This song is called Night Service, and I'm gonna just play it. So here you go.
All right, you guys have been listening to Cadence Weapon live on CFRU. Check it out on the YouTube channel, cfru.ca. And this is he's coming up for Hillside next week.
This is Night Service.
Night Service with Jacques Green.
like Avedon. It was the era before the phone, so a party photographer tagged along. Neon beams was flashing, the DJ played the Rapture. Saw the lights reflected rays, she was dressed like Chloe Sevigny. Met her on the 7th day of tour, it was going awful. On the road with 12 apostles, out there trying to spread the gospel. Started missing daylight, knew I had to stop raving. Woke up, came back to light, got reincarnated. At night service, Saturday mass. Night service, Saturday mass. All the nights with stained glass, in the future see the past. Night service, Saturday mass. Night service, Saturday mass. Night service, Saturday mass. All the nights with stained glass, in the future see the past. Night service, Saturday mass.
All right, that was Night Service, Cadence Weapon, brand new track, sneak peek with Jacques Green.
It's a preview of the remix.
All right, so check that stuff out on the YouTube channel for CFRU, and come see Cadence Weapon at Hillside on Friday at 10:30.
I want to crowd surf, so catch me.
And somebody bring that inflatable shark.
Oh, yeah.
All right, that's all the time we have. Stay tuned for some more CFRU programming.
Lena, Ира,
Света,
Таня,
Шантал.